This is Greg Anderson from Snake and Son and Son of the Lord. You're listening to Heady Metal on MetalMessiahRadio.com.
Monday, July 19th, and Friday, July 23rd. And this is Ole Olson, Heady Metal.
This is Greg Anderson from Snake and Son and Southern Lord. You're listening to Heady Metal.
Hello?
Hey, Greg, is this you?
Yeah.
This is Ole. What's going on?
How are you, man?
Very well.
Cool.
This is very informal. It's just a phone call. What I do is just on our front porch hanging out.
Okay, yeah, I'm right. My window's like facing Hollywood Boulevard, so it gets noisy here sometimes too.
First thing I want to say is let's start with the modern Greg Anderson history and work backwards if we can. So my first question to you is, what creations are you currently working on?
Right at this moment, actually, I started playing with Goatsnake again. Goatsnake is a band that I was playing with and started in '96, and we played pretty regularly from '96 to 2000, released a couple albums, and then from 2000 to about 2004, it was kind of sporadic. We had problems with keeping a steady lineup, and just really kind of everyone in the band was doing a bunch of different things. So it was kind of on again, off again. And then we played our last gig in 2004 and released an EP of 3 new songs during that year. Kind of went quiet for a while because I'd been playing a lot with Son, and that was taking up a lot of time, and just other stuff with life and work and stuff. But recently, Goatsnake got asked to play the Roadburn Festival in Holland, get back together again. So we actually got back together the original lineup that we started with and recorded our first record with, and played the show in April of this year, and it went really, really well, and it was really great for me to play music with those guys again. And
yeah,
so we kind of, we had as soon as we made that announcement we were doing that, we got a lot of interesting offers to do other stuff, but for us it was like, well, let's see how the show turns out, and then take it from there. And so the show went really well. So we're putting together stuff now to do a couple shows on the West Coast next month, and then and see where we go from there. So at the moment, musically, that's where I'm at, is playing with Goatsnake again, and it's not working on anything new at the moment, although I would really like to, and I'm hoping it's going to go that way.
Yeah.
But for now, it's playing the old songs that people seem to like and still care about. And doing that, and it's great. It's great for me to play music with those guys again, and really in a band, because that has drums, because Son doesn't have any drums. So, and I've been playing with Son and kind of in that mindset for so long that it was a real challenge and really exciting for me to play with the drummer again and actually play songs with structure, because Son doesn't, Son's based off a lot of improvisation. So it was really cool, and playing with the bass player again is playing songs is also exciting, and a singer, all of that, it's all kind of new to me again, which is really exciting. So
kind of going backwards there. Like when I listen to Son, though, there are drums, because I like throwing some stuff on and just free-forming jazz drums over it. It's really fun, man.
That's awesome.
And I want to get sidetracked, but I may go back and forth with Son and Goatsnake just for a second, because as we see some interesting influences with you, with like Ascension and Coltrane, and I don't know, we have a Live in Japan thing that has Asheed on there. The drummer is just fantastic, but like Alvin Jones as well, these free-forming, 30-minute things of organization, though. It isn't just completely, here we go, and just let's, flip around. So,
well, yeah, I think a lot of that, I mean, that's kind of maybe a misconception about free jazz and jazz in general, is that it's without form, but I think it's not maybe as tangible as traditional music, but I think it's the players are focused in a way that it's definitely not completely off the cuff. I don't think. I think that there's definitely some thought and some bit of, I don't know, structure might not be the right word, but something that is similar. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with Sun too. I mean, there is an improvisational aspect to what we're doing, but there's a lot of what we're doing is based off of the fact that the chemistry of the players, and also the other guitar players, Steven and I have been playing together for so long. There's this kind of there's some psychic shit going on too, where we kind of know how the other person's going to react to what we're playing, or or hoping that playing off each other, and that's to me like what a lot of the great jazz stuff that I really enjoy, that I find inspirational, like Coltrane and Miles Davis and Eric Dolphy and stuff. It's like I would never claim to be able to play like that. I mean, those guys are in a different sort of league, but I'm inspired by what they do and how they play together, and that really cool, the sounds that they can come up with that to me were, I'm a guy that grew up on rock, Van Halen, AC/DC, Sabbath, and stuff like that, and then being turned on to jazz, it's like is a whole new world and a whole new discovery for me. So
that's great.
It's interesting to see how that those players can play together, and that to me is inspiring, and that's some of the things that we, I guess, are trying to tap into with Sun.
When you're on stage, then, is it a visual IQ for key changes or ideas or anything like that? Or you guys just, is it an earlobe thing? Is it just, I know you said it was psychic, but sometimes you guys may have some general signals or something like that, or is it just
it's a bit of both. Yeah. There's both happening. There's definitely hand cues or head cues or whatever, but there's also but there is some sort of structure that we're playing with, and a lot of times when we're like on a tour, there's usually by the fourth or fifth show, it really starts to get good, in my opinion, because there's things that you're experimenting with and doing that happen that really work and that you really like, and so you might try to repeat that at another show, and so to me it's like the first show of the tour is always can be a little bit rough, and but then after a couple shows you develop like this really, you get warmed up, so to speak. I mean, I guess it's that way probably for any kind of music or any kind of band, but especially for Sun, because we really sort of feed off of new ideas happening within the moment and within the live show, and trying to expand upon those and use them again in future shows.
Well, you've led the great low-tuned heavy world of music in rock into great dimension and leadership in art. You've changed metal to become artistic. I think you're responsible for a lot of that, dude. I want to go back to Goat Snake again here. My favorite tune right now, and I have to say right now because tunes to me just evolve around. My tune that I love turning into my parking lot at work and then rolling down the windows and just turning it like to 10, as loud as my stereo can go in the car, is Black Cat Bone. So every time I turn in to work, it's I just love that tune, dude.
Right on, man. That's great.
For me, we don't get to come out to the West Coast probably for this little jaunt you're going to do, but dude, I hope you play that song for him, because that's it's a fucking heavy tune. Lovely, lovely.
Yeah, that's funny you say that, because we didn't play that in Holland, but we actually started working that up. No, they didn't. I mean, that came out on that EP that we released in 2004, The Trampled Underhoof, and that was kind of, we were in between kind of some members there. Basically, what that was really weird. Is at the time that I wrote the songs and I was playing them, we didn't really have a lineup. We didn't have a drummer, and we didn't have a bass player. But there was this guy that the singer Pete was friends with, this guy JR, who played in a band from Boston called Cave-In.
Wow.
And he just happened to be in town and spending the summer in Los Angeles, and was a huge fan of Goatsnake, and just wanted to jam. And so I wasn't doing anything at the time. I was like, okay, all right, let's jam. And so basically worked up those songs, and he had to go on tour with his band, so we just rushed into the studio and laid down the tracks, and we just sat there. We didn't have a bass on or anything. And then Scott Reeder, who we played with before in Goatsnake, actually played Dynamo with him in '99, and he kind of been on and off again in the band here and there. We started playing together again, so he played bass on that, and he actually mixed it and finished it up in his studio. And so Scott's one of my favorite players. I was a huge Caius fan. He played in The Obsessed, and so that was really cool to play with him. But so these shows coming up, actually the bass player that we were playing with in Holland, Guy, who was also in The Obsessed, he can't come over to do these shows because he's a European citizen, so he's had could be some issues with getting him into the country to play his shows. So we asked Scotty
from the U.S. back over.
He's a European citizen. He lived in the U.S. for a long time.
Sure.
He had to go back to Europe for some family stuff.
Right.
So. But he's afraid that if he comes back into the United States, that he's afraid that he won't be able to get into the United States. Because
now, is this a political issue because of the DEFCON 5? I mean, the security thing?
No, it's just like it's a really long, complicated story, but basically his citizenship is in question, and he was possibly living in the United States when he did live here illegally. So for him to come back, he might not be able to come back in. We're not sure. We just figured it wasn't a good idea to risk it, because we've got these shows on the line, and it would be a really bad thing to have to cancel them right at the last minute. So we asked Scotty to play. And long story short, since Scotty had played on Black Cat Bone and mixed it.
And this is Scott Reeders?
Yeah, Scott Reeder.
Right, Reeder. Yeah. I go Reeders because I've had two Scott Riegers and Scott Rieger. These have been friends in my life that are kind of deep. One guy was a biker friend of Trouble that died, that they wrote the song Requiem after, and then the other one, of course, is the St. Vitus, the singer cat.
Yep.
So.
Well, and the drummer for Fu Manchu, his name is Scott Reeder as well.
Jeez. We ought to all get them all in one band,
Exactly. That would be, the Reeders. That'd be a good band.
Call them, the Winslows, though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all their names. I don't know.
Well, so Scotty's, the long story short, Scotty's playing with us again, which I'm psyched on. So we're doing Black Cat Bone. We worked that up.
Yes.
And we're gonna try to pull that out.
That is cool. I'm not usually a request kind of guy. I remember when we were over there with Trouble on the last kind of stuff they were doing, we had a guy that the running gag was, "Und run to see light." They kept gunning that one at us, and it just became this funny thing. And we just loved that they screamed that. for them to do that. And do they do that with the Goat Snake? They just scream in the tunes they want you to play at you?
Yeah, I mean, the show we played. Did you play the Roadburn Festival?
Yes, we did. It was yes, and you hear those things coming at you in the audience and in the back.
It was great. I mean, that crowd was just insane. It was. I mean, we really didn't. We weren't in a position to take requests because we worked really hard on the set that we had. But I don't know. I mean, it was great. That audience was. I couldn't ask for anything better, man. It was such an honor to play that show.
Yeah, and that's the Walter. Dave and I just talked about this in the last interview. Walter from Roadburn, a guy that is so peaceful and mellow, and like everything is going on around him, and like just all the problems you could possibly have.
It's a lot of work, man. It's insane.
So let's talk, Greg, your equipment for Goat Snake: guitars, bass, amps. Do you change them up different from Sun? Do you use your same kind of rig, your same kinds of things? We're talking about way different contrasts but similarities. Let's talk about your guitar. I mean, have you had a guitar since you first played it, or your first favorite guitar? What is it?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been playing the same guitar since '92. It's just a gold top Les Paul, and I have an insane amp, but I only have one guitar. Actually, I have two.
That amp one again. It sounds like there's an edit crunch there, like a limiter kicked on or something.
I have a lot of amps, but sure. I only have one guitar. Actually, I do have two guitars, but the second guitar that I have is exactly the same as my other one. It's just a backup. Sure. So, I mean,
beefed up Les Pauls at EMGs or just stock?
No, it has P90s in it, actually.
Oh, okay, that's great already. That's a very cool single coil, deep, bassy, wonderful pickup.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really changed that. I have not changed that at all for several years.
It's too glorious, Even if it gets corroded, it may change a little, but it'll probably become more exciting.
Well, it's become my sound, so I'm not going to change it. I mean, if I do get another guitar, it would definitely have P90s. That's the pickup that for me is like I've developed my sound around. But
would you go for vintage P90s, or would you how technology that you can get a reissue P90? Is there any reflections on that or anything like? Have you thought about that?
I haven't even tried it, man. I've just have my one guitar, that I've been using. So
that's cool.
I don't know. I haven't had to change out the pickups, but. And then as far as Gut Snake's setup is similar to Sun, what I would play in Sun, except for it's just less. Sun is way more cabinets, way more amps, and Sun is. I'm playing with. I'm trying to keep the volume at a level that's it works with other players. So it's so I basically just play less cabinets, and less amps if
Sure, that makes sense because of maybe the sonic high dynamic of Sun is a giant wall of power. It's got to have a wall of amps, creating that. Your debut full length Goat Snake, it was Rise Above, right? 99.
They released it in Europe.
Okay, now and then so how did you meet Lee Dorian? And if you did, how did you meet Lee Dorian? How did that go about?
We met Lee on the first time that we came to Goat Snake. The first time we went overseas was we played the Dynamo Festival in '99. Yep, and then we
89. No, was
99.
99. Wow.
Mm-hmm. And then we also did some shows in England as well. So we met him We did some shows with Electric Wizard, who was on Rise Above.
Cool.
So I think that's when we met. He may have actually got our demo when we first came out, and maybe he wrote me because of that. That might be a possibility. I can't remember. And maybe we met. Maybe I don't remember. But also our singer Pete, he had stayed with Lee Dorian when his old band Scream had gone and toured in Europe, so they knew each other already.
Yep.
So yeah.
And that's Pete. You pronounce it Saul? Pete Saul?
Pete Stahl. Stahl.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Pete Stahl. Cool.
So yeah, they had known each other as well. So I think I'm pretty sure that actually before we came to England, things were already in motion, and Lee had already had heard the band and told us that he was into it. Yeah, I mean, Lee's he's been around for a long time, obviously, and been somewhat involved with a lot of music that I've done over the years. I mean, he actually released one of the first Sun albums as well on Rise Above, and was also always a supporter from the very beginning of both Goatsnake and Sun, which is really cool because at that back in that time period we weren't as well known and people had no clue, and then especially with Sun, I mean it really went over the majority of people's heads. So for him to get into it, somebody who I had a lot of respect for and also looked up to because I was a huge Cathedral fan, it was really cool to kind of have his stamp of approval back then, Yeah. That was cool.
What a cool feeling that is. My lyric writer helps me with Retrograve, emails me right away, look at this article in the New York Times, it's just incredible. Finally, metal's becoming artistically recognized. So you've done that, and we're stoked about that. We're talking with Greg Anderson.
All right.
That is awesome sounding. I like it. How do I sound all right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Do I sound chipper?
Yeah, you do.
All right. Dude, I can't tell you how much fun this is doing this. It was weird because I was reading some stuff on Steven O'Malley, and I guess he did the same thing. He interviewed people. I'm like, as I'm researching, I'm like, wow, he interviewed people? That's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, he had a fanzine. Yeah.
I was actually not allowed to do interviews in the late 70s and 80s. I'm the geek of heavy metal here. That's like the only bad thing I've ever done, I guess, is, like been a little, hey! So, said the wrong thing at the right time. Ascend, did it come from the name Ascension, or did you guys just say, let's just call it Ascend? How'd the name come about for Ascend, the creative work there called Ascend?
It didn't come directly from Ascension, but definitely the music and the kind of the mindset of the material on that album is heavily influenced by jazz, or the spirit of jazz. So it's not out of the question.
Okay.
But that was a really fun project it was between myself and this guy Gentry Densley, who I'd been friends with for a really, really long time. I actually met him in the 80s playing in hardcore bands, and then over the years our bands would cross paths. And
now, is this Engine Kid, or is this Iceburn?
Bands, yeah.
Eagle Twin is modern. I mean, is that so? And that's 19 years of experience with each other, friends?
I started playing with Engine Kid and Iceburn started playing together in like 92 or 93. So, and we did a lot of touring together. And Gentry was a big influence on me, as far as he really sort of turned me on to a lot of jazz music, and he was really well versed with that, and really it really influenced his playing. So he turned me on to a lot of really, really great jazz.
That's
music
awesome.
and sort of kind of, you know, some of the theories and approaches to playing jazz but incorporating them with like backgrounds that we both had, which was coming from like punk rock, hardcore, metal background, you know.
Sure, yeah.
It was cool, you know. I mean, it was all, you know. Looking back on it, I mean, it's like, you know, I guess pretty naive in some ways, but that's how it is when you're young. I mean, we weren't.
Or when you're old.
To be like, exactly. I mean, I feel the same way now, even if not even more. But it's just, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's interesting to look back and how things came about.
So horns, now we're talking about horn sections. Where did you guys arrange these horn sections? And how, you know, well, let's ask that question first. Is the horns arranged, or are they just applied like in the studio like we do with rock? A lot of times it's ripping at a couch. Yeah, that sounds cool. Play with me. No. Slide up a few frets, or this key.
Well, the guy that plays horns on that also plays horns with Sun. This guy Steve Moore, and I think that I'm pretty sure that the arrangements were already made on the. I'm trying to think back on how we did that. A lot of that stuff was kind of done on the spot in the studio, somewhat improvised, and I think he added most of that stuff after the fact. I don't think there was anything that was composed together, or, you know, I think it was kind of like him adding stuff as an overdub.
So it's still free form jazz then?
Some of it, I can't remember now, actually, to be honest with you. It's been a while since I thought.
How can we get these records?
How can you get them?
Yes. How can we get these records? I know that's a basic question, but believe me, a lot of people out there would like to have them at Bull Moose Records up here in Maine, or, you know, we have Newberry Comics.
Yeah, they're available at Newberry Comics. All of our stuff is available at finer independent record stores everywhere.
Awesome. That's cool. So Ascend is available there too?
Should be, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, if it's not, request it, because it can get in there.
That's cool.
For sure. And there's also all the stuff's available directly from us at the label through mail order, so you can go to southernlord.com and get the stuff as well.
And that's southernlord.com. That's killer, bro. We come across some festival situations that are really, really killer here that I wish I could have been at this, bro. It's a work with, and we'll work on the, you know, my pronunciation of the name. It's Oren Ambarachi.
Oren Ambarchi.
Oren Ambarchi. And it is the Burial Chamber Trio. Okay. Did this project occur before Oren's collaboration with Sun, or after? How'd that work out? How'd you guys meet? Did it happen before or after you worked with him with Sun? It's Burial Chamber Trio we're talking about here.
Happened during.
Oh, a little bit of, I don't know what you would call that. Musical affairs within yourselves.
Exactly.
Well, what that is fucking, I don't know, splitting the atom.
that was actually my first time at really starting to play bass in that sort of, within that sort of mode of playing, which is it's similar to Sun. It's free form. It's really extreme volume, and it's you know, it's very similar to Sun. I mean, same elements, some of the same players, a lot of the same elements, but I was playing bass. That was the difference for me there.
Sure.
With that, and so it's, you know, there's a lot of things that have sort of came out of Sun, and different players that have played with Sun playing together in different groups. You know, Steven played with both those guys in a group called Grave Temple, actually, and there's Steven's other group, KTL, which is a collaboration with a guy that's played with Sun as well, and you know, there's just different groups that have sort of, you know, came about, and to me it's like, you know, it's interesting to me to keep evolving and keep moving in some sort of direction, whether it's forwards or backwards. But it keeps things interesting for me, to play in these different groups and different combinations of people, or different collaborations with people. So, and that's exactly what Burial Chamber Trio was about. Was just just an opportunity to. It really kind of sprung out of an opportunity to play a concert that. At some festival in Germany, and the promoter was trying to put together an interesting collaborations that hadn't happened before, and so or that they hadn't had at that festival before. So that was the one that ended up happening, and we ended up doing we decided to do a couple more gigs, and then we made some recordings.
That is just absolutely excellent. And we're going to move on that right where you just talked about this German festival, Berlin. This was in Berlin, everybody. And you guys, it was 2007, I believe, right? Am I correct with that then?
I think so, yeah.
In what role does volume or loudness, sort of impact your sound or art?
It's very important, and it's it's kind of it could be misconstrued, especially since it's there's a lot of the music's being played by people that are interested in or might be classified as heavy metal. That it's like this man of war Guinness Book of World Record thing for us, but that's not what it's about. That's really not what it's about at all. It's more about it's about a physical presence. It's not a gimmick. It's about, for us with the Sonics, it's about a physical presence in the sound that is also an important and integral part of the art.
Sure.
Because for us, it's about being able to feel and the music as well as hear it. It's about being able to actually physically feel it, the volume with your body, and have it shake your clothes or whatever. It's that's an important part of what we do, and that's to me is what that's to me the most interesting and exciting part of.
Well, have you seen any weird physioacoustic phenomena during a concert with Sun?
I've heard a few different things. There's been several times that we've seen vomit on the floor, and or heard from people that they saw somebody vomiting during the set because the sound pressure was so intense.
I bet.
So it's not like a conscious decision to do that, and it's not like a goal. It's not a goal, but it does. That's what it can happen. It's the science of sound, and with that much pressure and that much volume, like it can change matter, and create certain effects,
I remember playing in Sweden, and for some odd reason, my monitors back behind my drums kept getting louder and louder, and it floated like the fluid in my ears. And I fucking fainted against my hi-hat, but woke up in the middle of the phrase, and apparently I didn't fuck up, but it was tripping. It can happen. We can. It's that powerful. That's really killer, though, and that's when art and sciences meet. Physical sciences, psychoacoustics versus physical acoustics, and what a world that is. We could go into a whole separate interview there with you guys. It's just powerful and intense. It's time for the silly question that I had talked about earlier before. So you got to play this game, okay? I did it to Dave, but I did it differently to Dave, and going to do it differently to Gene Hoglan next time. Anyways, I have to go to the silly question here. Are you ready to play Name the Band in 2 riffs?
I'll give it my best.
Okay, bro, here it goes. I'm going to have to rewind this, but I'm going to try and remember it. I think I can remember it without giving myself a prompt. Here we go. Riff number 1. Now, you can answer the name of the band on riff number 1 without riff number 2. That might give you bonus points, but either way, I'm going to still hit an F sharp chime. If you win or lose, it's all good. Hey, that's a lyric from you guys. If I win or lose. Anyways, are you ready for this? Here comes the riff, and you're gonna guess the band. We'll give you some time. You can wait and go, all right, I want riff number 2. Even if you know the answer to the name of the band, here we go. That's riff number 1.
I don't know.
Okay. And riff, this is fun too. Riff number 2 is that's riff number 2. You have 30 seconds to answer. You can answer any name of a band you want, and it's okay, because I'll tell you about that in a second. Try to answer it, Greg.
I don't know, man. The second one sounds familiar, but I can't place it, so...
Okay, it is Uriah Heep.
Okay, I wouldn't have got that one.
So, Greg, what is your answer?
Run to the Light.
No! You can't do that.
Well, that's what I want
to do. You have to say Uriah Heep. You have to get it right. It's the last question tonight. It's the last question tonight.
I don't want to get it right. Okay.
Greg, so what is your answer?
Plastic Greenhead.
You're wrong.
Stop fucking with my head.
You have to. I may put all these outtakes on there, you know? Are you gonna... Anyways, bro, what a great interview. You don't have to continue on with this madness, you know? If you want to say Uriah Heep, you can. I could fake your voice. I'll Uriah Heep. I'll try to do ya.
Just throw it through an auto-tune.
Yeah. That like everybody. Like... We're going to make it so you answer the question right. Is that okay? You have to go, Uriah Heep! Okay? When I ask you, so you have to do it.
All right.
You got to do this, Greg. For me. Right. For me. Okay?
Only because you're in trouble.
Only because I was in trouble.
Because the first 2 albums are extremely important to me while I do this for you.
Anyways, bro. So you gotta say Uriah Heep.
Uriah Heep. Is it from the Demons and Wizards album?
Yeah, it's what the hell? It's Traveler in Time. The song is called Traveler in Time, and it's Uriah Heep.
What was the second one?
Traveler in Time. I just chose both because there was no way I could go outside it.
Songs?
What's that?
You did 2 Uriah Heep songs?
I did the same song representing the band Uriah Heep.
You should have done The Tempter or Assassin.
I could do that, you know, like I could do Bruce's lead. It's just a sport for me. What is your biggest memory you had, you know, in your metal life? What, and when I say biggest, it'd be the thing maybe that sticks out the most, that just blows your mind, that, you know, has happened to you. It could be a road story, or it could, you know, it doesn't have to be long answer, but what would be your, you know, fondest thing or your scariest thing? What, you know, something that stands out in your metal experience or musical experience?
Well, I mean, that's a difficult question, but I'll probably go back to one of my first and fondest memories was probably going to see Metallica in '84, and I think it was '84 or maybe '85 on the Ride the Lightning tour. They played Seattle, and I had recently got into them. I got Kill 'Em All actually at my local library, which was right down the street from my house, and it's where I spent a lot of time when I was younger, just reading about music and other stuff, but mostly music, like, you know, going into and finding back issues of Guitar World or Guitar Player it was called back then, and Rolling Stone and stuff like that. But they have, I don't know what it was, but they had a few cool records in that you could check out. And I remember, like, I'd always constantly borrow records from the library, and one day they had Metallica, Kill 'Em All, and to me, I at that point I was into heavy music or heavy rock, but, like, you know, AC/DC, Van Halen. I hadn't even heard Sabbath at that point yet. Or if I had heard Paranoid. I'd heard that record. I thought that was cool. But so it was like, that was just a revelation to hear that record. And then shortly after that, Ride the Lightning came out, and I bought that. I went to the store by my house and bought that. This local like kind of store that had everything, that groceries and clothes and music, called Fred Meyer. I went there and bought the Ride the Lightning the day it came out. And
Great.
Then, they played Seattle shortly after that, and I was just so blown away. I'd never seen anything that loud, that fast, that heavy. Nothing. It was insane. You know. Of course, it was Cliff Burton, so it's like,
Cliff.
It was a great lineup, and that was kind of the show that opened up the floodgates for me for just metal and punk and hardcore and stuff, because I hadn't really been to that many shows at that point, you know. So seeing that was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I tried to go to any metal or hardcore show.
We'd like for you to just give us your closing thoughts at this time, you know, to all the listeners across the world. This is an internet radio, so there's cats in Italy. There's, you know, people in Budapest. I don't know how far it goes, you know, but I'm sure it's online. So what would your closing thoughts be?
I guess a closing thought I would for me would just be to encourage people to seek out music, and without prejudice, you know, and because you can really stumble across some cool stuff if you kind of open your mind a little bit, and because I know a lot of times in the metal scene, you know, things can be pretty narrow-minded, and people can. You know, there's nothing wrong with knowing what you like and sticking with it, but to me, the greatest thing about music is discovering new styles and new bands and everything. So, happy hunting, folks.